I now give the floor to the Russian Federation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please allow me to say a few words as regards the resolution that was just passed. Quite frankly, we had no desire to join in with the consensus, and let me explain why. The right of veto for the permanent members of Security Council is a cornerstone of the UN architecture. Without it, the Security Council would become a rubber-stamping body, rubber-stamping questionable decisions imposed by the nominal majority, whose implementation would be hardly possible. History, as we know, has seen many a multilateral mechanism where there were attempts to do without a veto, but as we all know, no good came of this. In this regard, we are convinced that what needs to be criticized is not the veto, but rather the lack of readiness of some members of Security Council to listen to and take into account the opinion of others, their inability to find compromise and balanced decisions. And this frequently is the very thing which compels the use of the veto. Veto, of course, is a measure of last resort and is used at a time when other possibilities are exhausted. And that is why, when using this instrument, the permanent members of the Security Council provide most exhaustive clarifications as to why the veto was cast. And all such statements are open and accessible. Permanent members of the Security Council, of course, could also easily provide the same explanations to also all member states of the General Assembly. But we don't see, quite frankly, any value added to such an exercise. The decision which was made today, whilst it does have a very pretty packaging, is without any doubt an attempt to create an instrument of exerting pressure on the permanent members of the Security Council. And this is an approach that we categorically reject. The division of powers between the Security Council and the General Assembly is what has allowed our United Nations to function effectively for now more than 75 years. And neither those who advocated broadening the authority of the General Assembly at the expense of the Security Council, nor those who brought into the Security Council the issues which should be considered by the General Assembly, has ever enjoyed our support. And this is our position of principle. And therefore, we will, as before, continue to be guided by what is stated in Article 12 of the UN Charter, according to which the General Assembly cannot issue any recommendations on issues which are under consideration by the Security Council. It is obvious to us that the initiative, which is a basis for this resolution, cannot resolve either major or smaller issues that the member states or the United Nations has to tackle. But at the same time, what it does is it risks bringing in additional irritants into the situation, which, when they were being considered in the Security Council, the veto was cast. It's difficult for us at this stage to evaluate all of the potential ramifications of this decision. Therefore, passing the resolution today is something that doesn't give rise to any kind of a positive emotion with us. I thank you.
I thank the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation.